What's up, everybody? I'm back. It's later on in the evening. It's Thursday, November 20th, and I just wanted to go over a couple things. First off, Eddie Hearn did an interview in Riyadh talking about the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, the build-up and how the fight got made. And I did a previous video before already that said it was an absolute shame that Jake Paul is going to be the headliner on this fight. But he said to the guy who was asking the questions, when you get a call from Jake Paul for an exuberant amount of money, you take the fight. He said they had another fight that was coming up that was going to be 10 times less the amount of money that he's going to get for the Jake Paul fight. And he said it was a no-brainer to him, a no-brainer. And then the interviewer asked Eddie Hearn if Joshua had any problems with him being billed second, which is B-side basically, if you guys know boxing. The person who's second on the marquee is the B-side, and if he had any problems of walking out to the ring first. Because the way it works in boxing, you have an A-side, B-side, right? The A-side usually makes the more money. The B-side makes less. A-side walks second. B-side walks first. And usually the way you can tell that is who's got the titles and who's got the most titles. If it's champion versus champion, who has the more bigger titles against the other side. So say, for instance, right off the top of my head, Oscar De La Hoya when he fought Fernando Vargas. Fernando Vargas was the IBO champion. Oscar, I believe, was the WBC or the WBA champion. They're both champions. They made the deal where Fernando wanted to walk second, but he had the IBO title, which is a fairly brand new title and doesn't hold as much weight as the WBC, WBA, IBF, or the WBO. The WBO is the most recent, right? As far as the history of the titles goes. The WBA is the oldest title, then the WBC, then the IBF. The WBO came later, and the IBO just recently got recognized as a major title. It's still not a major title, but guys like AJ have held the title of the IBO title. Who else? Roy Jones held the IBO title. Fernando Vargas held the IBO title. Stuff like that. Well, Fernando walked first. Oscar walked second. But then I think they made it some kind of deal where De La Hoya was introduced first. Fernando was introduced second in the ring. Well, Eddie Hearn was like, I don't give a shit if he has to walk first, introduce first. He goes, the amount of money we're going to get for this fight is going to be tenfold what we were going to make against the other fighter that they were planning on fighting. So he was like, it was an amazing opportunity they couldn't pass up. He said as soon as they got the offer, he spoke to Turki Al-Sheikh, and I can't remember the guy he had mentioned, but he said, this is what we're getting offered. We're going to accept it. I just want to let you know. And he said the one thing, though, that Turki did ask, is it going to be a real fight? Because Turki hates the knockoff fights. I mean, he doesn't like the exhibitions, which I don't really enjoy either at all. Eddie Hearn doesn't like them. He said, yes, it's going to be a legitimate sanctioned fight. And Turki said, yes, go get it. Knock it out. Because it helps Turki. If this fight goes the way that I think it's going to go, I don't think it's going to be a fight at all. I think it's going to be a massacre, a murder, a funeral for Jake Paul, which I can't wait. AJ will get him out of there within the first 2 rounds. Possibly the first round. I don't think it goes more than 2. And AJ will knock Jake Paul out. Out cold. Unless, the only thing I can see, the only other way I see this fight going, if it's not by a brutal knockout, is that Jake Paul's corner is going to have like an NBA locker room bin full of white towels that they can just start throwing in. The second he gets hurt and rocked, those towels are going to be flying in. They're going to stop that fight because they don't need his corner, his management, the promotion of MVP does not need their golden goose to get absolutely murdered in the middle of the ring. So they're going to have towels on deck waiting to get thrown into that ring. That's the only two ways I see it going. Brutal knockout or the corners throw the towels in. That's the only way I see it going. But once AJ does this, it's just going to boost his profile even more for Turkey. Because Turkey, Eddie Hearn said that Turkey does have AJ a fight ready for next year, possibly two. So after this fight, it'll be like a low-level heavyweight, possibly. And then in March, April, May, they're going to try to get the Fury fight done, which I cannot wait for that. Even though it's not for the highest stakes when they were both champions, it's not going to be an undisputed unification title for the heavyweight crown. But it's still a fight that fight fans, boxing fans like me and so many others have been waiting to see. Fury, AJ. They were the two kings of England for the longest time. Fury had the WBC and the lineal title, and then AJ had all the other belts. He had the IBF, WBA, WBO, Ring, and IBO. He did have the IBO. So to see those two guys get in the ring, possibly Wembley would be probably the best venue to do it at. If not Tottenham Hotspur, because they have been putting on great fights. We just saw last weekend with Conor Ben and Eubank Jr. And then the one before that in April, they put on an amazing show at Tottenham Hotspur. But Wembley is just so iconic that I could probably see Fury, Joshua at Wembley probably early summer, late spring next year. But this is a win-win for AJ. I don't see any way that Jake Paul wins this fight at all. And I mentioned this on the last video that the English media is probably some of the shittiest paparazzi journalists that are out there in the world. AJ gets this fight offered to him where he's going to make tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars. I'm probably thinking like 50, 60 million for this fight. And there's people in England. He's one of their own. He carried the face of English boxing for more than a decade. And that there's people saying that his chin is gone. Jake Paul has power. I could see AJ losing this fight. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, seriously, like, these people are like crabs in a bucket, man. Just heartless, just looking to pull somebody down all the time, super negative all the time, you know. But I think this is going to be an easy win for AJ, an easy payday for AJ. Go in there, collect your bag, take a couple of days on the beach in Miami, and then fucking roll back to England and get back in the gym to get ready for a real fight. This is going to be a massacre, and I can't wait. What else did he mention in this interview? Other than that, that's everything. He said that AJ didn't care if he came out second, didn't care if he gets announced second, or came out first with the walkout, gets announced first. And they were like, don't you think that's just like disrespectful? He's a gold medalist, two-time heavyweight champion. Then you have Jake Paul. And, you know, I'll give it to Eddie Hearn. He was real. He goes, Jake Paul is the bigger name in the United States because of the internet and that so many young people follow him since he was, I guess, doing YouTube videos, and not a lot of people know AJ, especially because the last time we saw AJ on American soil, he was getting knocked out by Andrew Rees at Madison Square Garden. So a lot of the casual boxing fans, especially heavyweight boxing, AJ is not a household name for them, whereas Jake Paul is. So the billing makes sense. Even though I'm against it, I thought that Anthony Joshua should be the top name on top of the marquee because he is the more accomplished fighter. I don't even consider Jake Paul a fighter, but it is what it is. He brings eyeballs, and more importantly, he brings the bag. He brings the bag. So according to Eddie Hearn, this was a no-brainer to take this fight. One, he's going to get paid. AJ's going to get paid huge money. And two, he's going to do all of us a favor, and he's going to knock Jake Paul out. So it's a win-win for us. A win-win for us. So that's all I got for this on this issue, or this for for this fight. So I'm gonna wrap it up for this one. I'm gonna do a main card breakdown for UFC with the betting lines are out. So I'm gonna recap all that, and then we have huge fights with David Benavidez headlining against Anthony Yarde in Riyadh season. I'm gonna try to pull up the betting lines for that, and I'll recover that tonight as well. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit that bell, share with everyone that you know that loves boxing and MMA, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!